What ho, chaps? How's it going? Hope everyone's spirits are relatively high during this fucking quarantine. This illiberal, poorly thought out, fucked up quarantine. We can't complain though, because unlike me when I was in Afghanistan, you cunts have got Netflix, Xbox, full fridges, fucking punch bags in your garage, all kinds of amenities, so stop fucking whinging. It's easy. You didn't used to get a charity box of random novels thrown into a Chinook, dropped off to you at a shite fob in Helmand province, and ended up reading several Mills and Boon novels and the fucking Quran of all things when he was deployed. Yes, that was a good time. Allahu Akbar. In my last video, I promised I was going to do a quick one about Piers Morgan and quite why he's such a monumental thunder cunt. Piers Morgan is a shithead of the highest order, and the reason I think that, and probably anybody over the age of about 30 thinks that, is because we're old enough to remember when this fucking weasel, weak-chinned, pasty, little shit-gibbon was the editor of the Daily Mirror. He wasn't famous at all. He got famous because for some reason, the Americans have a fascination with anyone who's got a posh accent, which is why I'm not fucking famous, by the way. And they made him into a star. Like, he sort of hit the headlines after this. And then they got him on as a judge on, like, Britain's Got Talent or whatever shite TV show. And it went from there. And he sort of became this sort of celebrity TV guy. But he was just a cunt. He was the editor of the Daily Mirror. And he came from nowhere. And the reason he got sacked is not because he's a charmless, arrogant, detestable, moral-less fucking gutter snipe. It's because that gutter trash newspaper had no journalistic integrity and didn't do basic fact-checking before they broke stories. So the short version is this. In 2004, when I was serving in Iraq, it massively kicked off. It was relatively calm. The initial war, we got in there, got the job done, secured the GOSPs, bombed the shit out of them, won the war in a few weeks. And then, as all insurgencies do, the insurgents came crawling back out of the woodwork once we'd scaled down and most of the troops had gone home. That's what an insurgency is. They all fuck off, go fishing for 12 months when they know they're going to get invaded and the entire might of the US military machine's going to turn up and bomb the fucking shit out of them. And then they give it a year or two and they all come crawling out the woodwork. That's what happened in Afghanistan. That's what happened in Iraq. I mean, you only have to look at the data. Look at the fucking data from Afghanistan there. We invaded the fucking place well early. Very quickly after 9/11, we had boots on the ground in Afghanistan. And it was quiet as fuck for the first couple of years. It didn't start getting dicey until 2005. And then it just increased exponentially from there. It's the nature of an insurgency, and it was the exact same in Iraq. We deployed. This was my second deployment after the initial invasion and war. And we did a really good job of winning the hearts and minds. We had a ridiculously fucking aggressive rules of engagement, card alpha, that the Americans used to laugh about, because they could still kill the fucking enemy. The initial invasion in Iraq was fucking great, because you could be as aggressive as you wanted. It was a kinetic operation, and they knew we needed to kill the enemy. The ridiculous rules of engagement came in and caught me by surprise, because during the initial insertion into Iraq, we could do what we liked. And then I went back there for my second tour and fucking hell, the change was palpable. And you had military police officers fucking trying to catch you with a laser speed gun. They give you a fucking fine. I mean, it really was a piss take by comparison. But the upside of that is, that's how you win an insurgency. You get the local people on side and you turn people away from criminality. We were doing a good job of that. We were doing it with kid gloves, making friends with all the children. I've got loads of photos on my fucking hard drive. I'm not going to bore anyone with my family album, but you know, pictures of us with hanging out with kids and giving out food and water and having a little kick about with the locals, making friends with them. And then Piers shit cunt ran this story on the front page of the Daily Mirror. Now, I can't find a really good quality version of it. Everywhere I look, they're shit quality. Obviously because they want us to forget about it. But basically, they were proper shit. Like, you could see they were faked the moment you looked at them. A child could tell. Look at that, he's wearing like a fucking Iraqi football shirt. It's like, oh, he's definitely an Iraqi. He's got an Iraqi football shirt. On. Of course he has. And look at the fucking sandbag over his head. Notice the sandbag kept fucking changing as well. And look at that one. He's meant to be pissing on him there. I can remember I can remember reading the newspaper, which I can't find really good copy of, obviously, because I've got shot of them all. But it was obvious. Like, I remember me and the lads laughing about it in Iraq, laughing at it, looking at the paper, going, "Oh yeah, cheers then." The webbing that they had on was the really, really old pattern one. We'd all been given like cop vests and stuff to deploy with. It was better, and you could tell that they were just fucking Army Reserves or fucking Boy Scouts or fucking Army Cadets or something taking the piss. You could tell by the way the gear was. You could tell by what they were wearing. You could tell by the way he holds his fucking weapon. I think the weapon didn't have a magazine on it. Like, there was loads of little clues that anyone who isn't an idiot could tell that it was fake. But I mean, even that one, he's meant to be pissing on him there. You can see, because he's his mate who he's helping rig the photos, that that's not pissing. That, like, there's loads of little dots there, like as if, unless that soldier is a 95-year-old granddad with prostate cancer, that's not a bloke pissing on someone. That pathetic little dribble isn't coming out of a cock. So anyway, the short version is, the daft cunt printed all these photos, ran a nice headline about how vile the British are decorating the Iraqis, and no shit, the next day, what do you think we got? That, and that, and that. Massive fucking protests. It was specifically linked to at least a couple of deaths, numerous injuries, and massive spike in attacks for months as a result of this shithead. So it was 15th of May 2004. Piers Morgan was sacked as the editor of the Daily Mirror last night as the newspaper's board made an unreserved apology for publishing fake pictures of British troops torturing Iraqi prisoners. Morgan, one of the controversial tabloid editors, was dismissed after an afternoon-long board meeting at the Mirror's Tower headquarters in Canary Wharf, East London. He was immediately escorted from the building by security staff. Morgan's departure came only hours after a devastating rebuttal of his pictures by Brigadier Jeff Sheldon, Colonel of the Queen's Lancashire Regiment, whose soldiers were accused of torture and abuse in the Mirror under the headline "Vile." Colonel Black said these photographs are a recruiting poster for Al-Qaeda and every other terrorist organisation. They have made the lives of our armed forces much more difficult and dangerous. Downing Street refused to comment on the resignation, saying it was a matter for the Mirror board. Yeah, because fucking Cherie Blair and that shit weasel bastard Tony were fucking looking out for the Taliban. When I was in Afghanistan, seriously, Cherie Blair was fucking looking out for them. She came over and all she had to say was, make sure you fucking, if any of you puts a single paw on any of them poor Afghans, I'll get you all fucking jailed. Like, that's what that fucking cunt was up to when she went out there. Fucking scum, the lot of them. So Piers Morgan, that's why he's a fucking weasel. That is one of 50 reasons why he's a cunt. But that's why he's the biggest shitbag in my mind to British soldiers and veterans around the fucking world. The man's a fucking cunt. And his endless self-righteous Twitter feed is just fucking, it's comedy gold. He's an absolute cunt, and he doesn't even have the good manners to realise he's an absolute cunt. I mean, that's the least you could do, Piers. A bit of self-reflection and an acceptance of the fact that you are a universally reviled shit cunt and almost everybody on planet Earth who knows your face wants to fucking slap it. You know, the Germans actually have a word for that. Backpfeifengesicht. It means, literally, a face I would never get tired of fucking punching. Well, something like that anyway. Point is, it's nice and it's snippier than our version, because we just have to say, I would never get tired of slapping the shit out of that honking cunt's face. Yes, Piers, I hate him. He is a fucking scumbag, and that's just one of reason of dozens to despise him.
Police officers will be briefed on how to go about enforcing lockdown measures to make sure they don't abuse their powers. It comes up.
I'm not going to show this whole thing. I'll leave a link in the description. But seriously, watch this. Like, I like Peter Hitchens. I don't agree with him on everything. I'm not a religious man, but he's entitled to his opinion. And the most important thing, as he says in the interview, is that no problem or question or nothing on earth that we've ever discussed can't be improved by having a long, reasonable discussion of both sides of the argument, and all Piers Morgan is interested in doing is presenting his own ill-informed, narcissistic, fucking dog shit opinions, and ignoring everybody who wants to argue with him, talking over them, arrogantly fucking shutting them up and just being a cunt. The examples are replete. You can just Google Piers Morgan on YouTube and you'll be swamped with them. Ben Shapiro made him look like a cunt. Ricky Gervais made him look like a cunt. Everyone who talks to him makes him look like a cunt. Peter Hitchens makes him look like a massive cunt. Even Alex Jones managed to make him look a cunt. Because Alex Jones is wrong a lot, but, you know, a broken watch is right twice a fucking day. Even Alex made him look like a twat. So, in fact, no, I won't show it. I don't want to bore the tits off you. It's meant to be a short video. Anyway, Peter Hitchens makes some good points. We haven't thought this through. We haven't thought the quarantine through. We haven't thought what we're going to do after. We haven't thought of the death and misery that will come as a result of the economy completely collapsing as a result of it. And we don't even know if it's going to work, because as soon as everybody starts going back on the piss in a fucking month's time, what's going to happen then? Once there's more than a few thousand cases, you can't fucking put the cat back in the sack. So it's poorly thought out, and I tend to lean with Peter Hitchens on this. I think we could have had a more targeted approach and just told all the pensioners and those at very high risk to stay in and everybody else to get on with their fucking lives. So we'll see. But I just want to clear that up. Somebody, I know a few of you asked, why is Piers Morgan such a cunt? That's why Piers Morgan's a fucking cunt. Personally responsible for the death and injury and maiming of at least a dozen British soldiers, probably a lot more. Total fucking cunt. He is lower than a snake's belly. He is a walking toilet. He is an oxygen thief, a real life one. He has nothing interesting to say, no charisma, no personality. Why he's even in remotely famous astounds me. And I hope Alan Sugar knocks 10 bells of shite out of the cunt.